a SWAT truck, I guess, back doors open, boom, the full SWAT team out, like machine guns, everything. Like, well, it's a wet and horrible day outside today, so not much is gonna happen. Initially when I started this vlog, a big part of that I wanted to do is basically travel. Well, as we know, travel's basically at the moment. So I thought I'm gonna put together a playlist or a bit of a series based on some sort of like crazy travel stories that myself and Ash have. We've done a fair bit of traveling in the last couple of years. I just thought I'd highlight some different moments of those different trips. So I thought today, in front of the fire, crack a beer, and let's talk about some crazy shit in Dublin. It should really be a Guinness, shouldn't it? Right, so this first story is based in Dublin. To get started here, we need to go back to 2017, which is when Ash and I did our first overseas Europe trip. We left in June. We arrived in Dublin after a very brief stopover in London on the 1st of July. Basically, we left in this crazy rush and had no sleep before we left, no sleep in London. We got to Dublin on the back of basically 48 hours of absolutely no sleep. First thing we did was we got to our hotel and we were staying in this place called Tullet, which turns out is pretty much like the Bronx of Dublin. Rock up to this place in Tullet, this hotel, downstairs, and of course the first thing I have to do is have a Guinness. So anyway, so we're so bloody knackered. So when did this? So was it the next day that happened? Went to the hotel, had a quick nap, and then we're like, fuck it, let's hit Dublin. Like, we've come all the way here. The only reason we came for 2 nights was purely just to get on the piss, because that's what we do and we do it well. We jump on the train to go into Dublin, fucking knackered. Ashy is literally so tired. We're at this bar. At this point, we're saying to ourselves, come on, like, get up. We've come all this way. We've got to have a big night. I'm literally sitting there and I go to turn and talk to Ashley, and she's literally fast asleep. I said to her, like, come on, like, you know, we're both fucking tired, but we came all this way. Anyway, we ended up somehow from basically wanting to go home and go to sleep, we just found a bit of live music, went out, had a fucking massive night. The pubs there are epic. Every bar has like 100 taps of beer. We met this cool, crazy local guy, Piggy. Am I? Oh, fuck, I am too. I've just gotten confused about the 2 times. Oh, yeah, so actually a different trip, we met a different guy called Piggy, which was actually on our recent trip that's just gone. The first trip we met Amon, the fucking legend. We were so hammered we couldn't find our way home, and he fucking basically led us on the train back to Tullet. So the next day we get up and we go to all the touristy things. We go to Trinity College and went to the Guinness factory, which I can recommend. That is fucking awesome. And then we're on our way back to go to Tullet. We're on the train, and at this point the train is absolutely packed. We already found it kind of weird that on the trains in Dublin they all had like armed security guards. We were like, man, that's weird, like why would you have that? We're sitting on this train down in the corner, like stereotypical team of like football players on there, and they're all, you know, like soccer players. They're all like on the piss, but like being totally cool, like not causing a drama or anything. So we come to this stop, and like the train sort of slows down, and I looked out the window, what the fuck's going on there? And there was all these like, I could only describe them as basically like hooligans, like running across like this soccer field, coming out to be like towards the train. I was like, fuck, that's a bit weird, what are they up to? And then these football guys on the train, they're like, I just hear them like, they're like, shit, like it's a fucking trap. And we're like, what the fuck is going on right now? Anyway, so then the train doesn't move, and like these hooligan guys run up around the train. The train like, it doesn't go from that stop, and everyone on the train's like, what's going on? Next minute, boom, like bottles and shit smashing through the sides of the train, like straight, like glass just fucking flying everywhere. These hooligan dudes, turns out, had run around the front of the train, stopped it from leaving, and at the same time they'd all come around the side and they were smashing bottles and shit through the windows. And then turns out they're like, it's a fucking like gang war between these 2 football teams, like exactly like what you see on TV. Like they managed to fucking pry the doors open, because obviously the train driver must have locked the doors. They pry these doors open, and then they're like, then it's fucking bottles smashing through and stuff, and then these guys are like, they're trying to rip the dudes on the train off. People are getting fucking bottled and shit. Of course, this train we're on is the one train that has no security. We'd been on so many trains, 3 or 4 trains that same day. They all had security except for this one. We're all sitting there like, this is going on for a few minutes. We're like, fuck, like what's going on right now? Like, is this gonna actually stop? Because these guys outside, they're basically trying to rip these dudes off the train. But these dudes don't want to get off the train because they know if they get off there, they're gonna get fucking knifed. Now, everyone on the train at this point, we're all just collateral damage. Like, there's glass smashing around and shit. And at first, like, you were like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, this is cool. But eventually it got to the point you could feel the tension raising because people were like, man, like, you're expecting a Molotov cocktail to come fucking boom through the window or something. And like, you were waiting for gunshots. Like, this shit, I'm not talking about like just a casual fight. These guys, like, you could tell the difference between someone who's trying to just cause a ruckus and someone who's trying to actually hurt someone. And this was like genuine. They would have killed someone if they could. So this probably went on for like maybe 7 or 8 minutes, which felt like half an hour. Suddenly they all boosted off. Like, truck just rolls up, like a SWAT truck, I guess, back doors open, boom! The full SWAT team out, like machine guns, everything, like, into it. The hooligan dudes, like, they'd already bolted by this point. You could genuinely see the disappointment on these guys' faces, the SWAT dudes, because they're like, they wanted to wreck some faces that day. I was like, fuck, man, thank God that's over and no one's fucking dead. But secondly, I was like, man, like, we're gonna be stuck here. They're gonna be interviewing everyone on here. Like, who knows how long we're gonna be here for. Like, we've got to catch a plane in the morning. Like, no, it was all good. They basically came up, you know, obviously talked to the conductor and boom, train rolls off. Literally 1 foot in front of us, there's this old Irish dude, and Ash is like, you know, she says to him, she's like, man, like, I suppose, like, you know, this stuff must happen all the time in Dublin. I mean, this is like basically our first day in Dublin, and this happens. No, he's like, this never happens. He said he's literally lived here for 70 years and he said he's never seen anything like that. So we were just like, holy shit. That woke us up that, you know, you need to be a little bit careful out there. But yeah, it ended up being a crazy yarn. I'm surprised that no one got, like, it didn't escalate even more. I think it was that close. Yeah, that's basically that yarn. You know, I've told it a few times. Everything is 100% true. Dublin, awesome place, but certainly probably maybe not quite the safest, or was that just a one-off crazy thing that we saw? I can say that all the people that we met over there really friendly, and it's certainly on our list to go back to Dublin. We absolutely love it, and we want to travel the rest of Ireland as well. There's a little travel story for you. Plenty more where that came from. If you've got a travel story, let me know in the comments below. We've got a whole bunch of different ones. Some I'll tell you on camera, some that I probably can't. But that's the best thing about traveling, and that's what I love so much about it, is that anything can happen. There's two different types of travel. There's travel where you don't take any risks and, you know, you get in tour buses and blah, 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 blah. But no. You want to get out there, give them a chance that something could go wrong, because that's kind of what makes things fun. Don't look at the negative of a bad experience. As long as you survive through it, look at the positive of it's an epic experience that you might have. So long as you survive and you're not badly wounded, then it's just a great story and a great experience, and isn't that what life and travel is all about? I always wanted to know if Guinness in New Zealand tasted the same as in Ireland, because in New Zealand, not that great. It's like having a meal. Sometimes it's not bad to have a meal. So the first thing, when we went to Ireland in Dublin, I wanted to taste a Guinness. My first thing was to go get a Guinness and compare it with New Zealand. So as soon as we got to the Paddington Hotel in Dublin, I went straight downstairs. They had a pub. I ordered myself a Guinness, which cost about 1/3 the price as it does in New Zealand. And I can tell you that it tastes 10 times better in Dublin, in Ireland, than it does in New Zealand. So I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's still imported the same, or who knows, maybe you know, tell me in the comments below. But in my experience, Guinness tastes better in Ireland.